Okay, now what we're going to do is make a candlestick. Candlesticks and wine goblets are probably the hardest of any of the objects to make by, one lone artist. What I'm doing here is putting the color on again. We got little chips on the outside. We've gone through this a little bit previous. We drag it around with an ice pick and make the design that we want. This particular piece takes two gathers on the pipe and one on the punny to make the bottom. Here again, we're shaping it just like we shape everything, giving it that round ball to begin with the cherry wood blocks. Here again, we are dealing with about 2500 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I'm going in to get another gather, wrap it, make it a little bigger, have a little bit more glass to work with. Going back to the shaping, we use water to keep the blocks waterlogged. That way they don't burn up quite as fast, because you can imagine the heat that's involved with all this. And then we start the shaping process. When we are shaping it, we've got to do several things to this candlestick. The first of which is to pull the stem out. And I get the jacks and I draw out a small little ball off the bottom of the bubble. And then we'll, of course, keeping it rotated to keep it centered on the pipe. And then I'm having to cool it off. Anytime you touch something hot to something cold, the heat always goes to cold. And that's what I'm doing there. And then I can start pulling on the stem a little bit, as you can see. We'll sling it out. This gives the bowl part up at the top, a little bit more definition, and to slenderize it a little bit. We continue to shape. All this has to be done with little 1 to 3 second windows. If you pull the stem out too fast, it just flops down. If you wait too long, you can't pull it out. Then we have to make the marks where we're going to be breaking it off and ultimately shaping it, which I'm doing here with the jack. Where I am right now, that'll be the part where the candle goes in. Where I am now, that'll be the part we'll break off and eventually flare it back down so that it will have that little flat part. Now I'm going in with a punny, getting a gather, and we're going to make what we call a cookie, which will eventually be the bottom of the candlestick. It'll be the foot or the base of the candlestick. And you can see I just flatten it out with my graphite paddle. And then we'll attach the candlestick to the cookie and then go back into the furnace to heat it up again and make sure it's all fusing together properly. And then we'll take it back out of the furnace and start working on the foot, so we can not only shape it right here, but we're cooling it off. You can imagine the candlestick body is going to be a lot cooler because it hasn't been in the fire as recently as the foot. Now I have to transfer it from the pipe over to the punny, which is the solid rod here again. And so this is a real delicate process because the stem is cooling off pretty fast right now, but we want it to break off right where I have my file. And I'm filing actually what I'm doing, I'm allowing the heat to transfer so that when we do stress it by tapping it, it'll break off. Now we're back in the furnace. We're going to heat up the top part so that we can flare it out, make it look like a candlestick. The heating process on this takes a little while. We also have to keep the foot hot so it won't check or break or pop on us later on. So everything's got to be kept hot while the top part needs to be kept or reheated to the hottest, because you'll see in a minute this is where we have to flare out the top and make the kind of the base for the candle to give it a little definition. I like the bottom and the top to be roughly the same when we get through. It'll almost look like two wheels with an axle on it when you get through, but that just gives it a lot of balance, and that's what we're after right now. So we go on and heat up the top part. It's heating up pretty good. So now we're going to go on and continue heating until we get it as hot as we can. This is a real critical step right here. If it's not heated right, the bottom pops, the top flops over. So we have to heat everything on a real even keel and make sure it's done properly. Now what we're going to do is flare the top out. As I said earlier, I kind of like to have the top roughly the same size as the foot. It just gives it a little bit more balance, symmetrical balance. It's my own observation of these candlesticks. We also have to make sure that the candlestick will hold a candle, so we have to size it. Everything's got to be done right now. You can't go back and do it later because obviously it's going to be too cool to do later. So and then that's the completed candlestick. We're all through with it, and we're ready to take it off of the punning, which we do by just simply working the cooling it off, and then we'll fire it to take off any of the little pieces of shards of glass that might be left on it. We just polish it is what we call it, and then we put it in the annealing oven, and it goes through that process which takes the stress out, and then we got a candlestick. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.